Hey everybody, thanks again for watching my video. Welcome back if you have been here before, and if not, thanks for watching. Today's video is going to be my first official bump date. Today I am 13 weeks and 5 days, and I am coming into the second trimester. I've heard that second trimester is the beginning of 13 weeks, but everything I've confirmed and read says 14 weeks is the first of the second trimester. So I've decided to do a 13-week bump date, which is also going to include this entire pregnancy so far. I'm just going to let it be an entire first trimester summary of what's been going on. I had actually previously filmed a 10-week update, and I didn't have any notes or really plan ahead before I did that video, and when I went back to watch it, I thought I left out a lot of information that was really important. So I actually have notes here today, so that way I don't forget something or get lost and kind of go off track, which I'm already doing because I'm chatting just in this intro. So let's go ahead and get started. I will say that at the beginning of this video, I will say this at the beginning of every pregnancy update, I'm going to talk about real pregnancy symptoms. Some of them are a little bit more personal. Most of them are your average. So if you don't feel like hearing about something like that, then just click off this video and find something else. So today I am 13 weeks and 5 days, and I have been using the What to Expect app on my phone. I also have the Baby Center app, but I actually like What to Expect better because they have little videos every week that go into a little bit more detail of what the baby's doing and the development that you're going to experience that week. And this says that the baby is the size of a peach and are about 3 inches long. So I mean, a smaller peach, I guess, that size, I don't know, but that to me is pretty big, because I don't know, that's actually something substantial, it feels like to me, and it's starting to be something. So I'll start out by talking about around 6 weeks on, because if you've watched my last video, which was my pregnancy announcement and how we found out, it goes into a little bit of detail of the symptoms I was having when I took my pregnancy test and a few things like that. The first symptom I had was breast changes, which I talked about in my last video. They were very sore, they felt very large and heavy, and that has pretty much been consistent up until now. The last couple of weeks it's really eased off a little bit, but they are still sore. They are huge. I can tell that they have grown. They have veins in them now. Like, I can honestly see blue veins, and they're itching really bad. And I also have stretch marks on my boobs really bad. My boobs are just red and hot and itchy and veiny, and that's probably the #1 symptom that has been consistent every single day so far. So I've really been trying to lotion up and use coconut oil. I was using like the Palmer's for stretch mark cocoa butter, and there for a while the smell was getting to me, so I kind of had to switch over to coconut oil because I can handle that smell a little bit better, and hopefully they won't grow anymore for a while, and you know, I can get some relief. But breast changes is definitely the first and most annoying symptom right now. The next symptom I've had consistently is exhaustion, but that has eased up a lot in the last week or two. I would say around week 6 through 10, I was so tired, especially in the afternoons, that it didn't matter how much sleep I got. It didn't matter if I, you know, got a consistent full night's worth of sleep. It did not matter because I wanted to take a nap. I wanted to lay in my bed all day. That was awful. And I'm just now starting to feel a little bit more motivated. Like, it was kind of hard work for me after finishing work to put on a little bit of makeup and sit down and film this. And that's another reason I've not really filmed a video up until now, because it's just exhausting. I'm just tired. Another one of the first symptoms I've had was cramping, or kind of twinge-like feelings is what I'm describing them as. For, I don't know, I mean, it's been consistent, but the first few weeks right after I got my positive pregnancy test, I had pretty substantial cramps. I looked it up and a lot of things said around ligament pain, but they say that doesn't happen until later on when your uterus is bigger and the baby is stretching it out. But a lot of the stuff that I've read, and my doctor said that is totally normal. Your baby is growing. There's a lot of stuff happening down there for the first little bit. I mean, you go from nothing to having, you know, a placenta and an umbilical cord, a baby growing, a baby stretching it out. The first few weeks that you are pregnant, so much growth and change happens, and I could feel it. I honestly could. It felt like someone was stretching my uterus. It didn't feel painful and it didn't feel like period cramps, but it felt kind of uncomfortable to the point where I was like, oh, is that normal? But that's basically subsided. I can feel it every now and then, but for the most part, now that I know what it feels like, I don't really worry about it or feel it as often. The number one thing everybody is probably going to wonder, am I having morning sickness? Am I feeling nauseated? And the answer is absolutely. I feel like before I got pregnant and I heard people talking about it, I knew that people had severe sickness. I really did. But a lot of my close friends didn't really have sickness very bad. I don't remember them talking about it or complaining about it. So I thought, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe, you know, some people just have it really bad and then others don't have it at all. I feel like I'm pretty much perfectly in the middle, kind of on the lighter side. I'm pretty lucky so far. I have thrown up 4 or 5 times. I threw up the first time on the way to our first doctor's appointment. I believe it was because I was nervous that day. It was about 10 or 11 o'clock. We were on the road and we had a long drive ahead of us. I didn't really eat a very good breakfast. I just ate something quick, like a little granola bar and a little fruit drink, and that wasn't enough for me. And I remember telling Aaron, I'm feeling sick. He was driving and I said, you've got to pull over now. And I threw up on the side of the road, and honestly the rest of the day I felt amazing. It was like after I threw up, that was the best feeling in the world. I have thrown up a few times since then, mostly related to food. I've realized when I don't eat, that is when I get the most sick. The mornings are actually pretty good because I am so hungry that I eat pretty quickly and I eat a good breakfast. But the afternoons are what really are the worst for me when it comes to my stomach. About dinner time is when I start feeling kind of bloated and hungry at the same time, and that's when it starts getting worse. I was taking my prenatals at night. I always kept them by my bedside. I've done that for the last year or two because it helps me remember to take them. And I just had to stop doing that because trying to swallow a pill right before I laid down was the worst. That was, I think I threw up twice because of taking my pills within like 10 minutes of taking them. Brushing my teeth is hard. I've just got to the point to where that does not make me gag every time, although it still kind of does. Brushing my teeth, certain things just make me gag, and I've never been someone to just like honestly gag at a smell or a sight. It's so bad that my dog, even just talking about it, kind of sits here on my chest. We have a puppy and he is the messiest eater, and when he will drink water and he lifts his mouth up, if I see like the spit and the water come down off of it, that kind of makes me gag. That's how sensitive I am. I don't throw up when I feel like that, but it just makes me honestly gag, like even just thinking about it. So that's probably the worst thing, is that I have consistent all day, worse in the afternoon, morning sickness. I'm always nauseated just a little bit, but thankfully so far I've not had a super embarrassing moment of throwing up in public or anything like that. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that that will end soon, because they said the second trimester is better usually for that. And it's starting to ease up a little bit, or I'm starting to figure out what I can eat and when I need to eat and things like that. Another thing that goes kind of with the sickness is just extreme hunger. Pretty much from day one, I have been so hungry. I said at one point that if I could just lay in the bed and someone feed me constantly, that would make me the happiest pregnant lady in the world, because I'm so hungry. I cannot get enough food. I mean, there's sometimes when I'm feeling a little nauseated and I have to kind of like think about what I'm eating, or might just have to eat crackers or something like that. But I've just figured out kind of what I can eat and what I need to eat. Some days I can just kind of snack on crackers or a granola bar, and that will help with the sickness. There have been a couple times that I have had to keep crackers by the bedside. My best friend right now is Gatorade or Powerade. At first it was lemon water, but that I felt like really didn't help that much. But the Gatorade or Powerade helps because it's got sugar in it, and I feel like that's the thing that's keeping me from getting sick and getting so hungry. So I pretty much am drinking that all day. I know that's probably not the best, but it's the best thing to help with the sickness. And I also, with the sickness, I love these little things called Preggy Pop Drops. I found them at Target, and I also bought some more on Amazon because I've went through my first pack pretty quick. Those have been my favorite to just kind of keep on hand. They're just fruit flavored little hard candies. Probably no different than getting like a Lifesaver at the store, but that helps more than eating like peppermint candies, or I've heard ginger candies. Those actually made me more sick, but the fruit flavored ones helped a ton to get rid of the morning sickness. So the nausea, vomiting, breast changes, cramping, hunger, all of that was probably the worst around when I found out I was pregnant to about 10 weeks. The last 3 or so weeks I've had a few other symptoms added on to that. One of the biggest ones is bloating and constipation. I have been a little bit miserable when it comes to that, and I have now added a fiber supplement to my vitamins every day, as well as Colace, and I've actually just started that today. I don't know, I'm a little nervous about taking that. I know that that's not a laxative and it's not supposed to make you go any worse. It's just supposed to make it easier to go. I'm saying that as a nurse. I tell my patients that when they get worried about it, but I'm still nervous that it's gonna like do something and make it, I don't know. I'm afraid I'm gonna be running to the bathroom. So hopefully not. Hopefully it will just ease some bloating and discomfort that I'm having, because that has been pretty rough on me so far. It's really hard to eat well. I at first was trying to eat really healthy, like salads and fruits and vegetables, but then some days I'm just so hungry I just make something that's quick and easy, and I feel like I'm eating a lot of carbs because that's the best thing that helps satisfy my hunger and helps with my stomach. So I don't know, I'm trying to do better about that. So in the meantime, I'm trying to just supplement and drink a lot of water and take the fiber supplements. Another symptom that has most recently started around week 12 or so is peeing constantly. I feel like every 30 minutes to an hour I have to pee. I will feel like my bladder is absolutely full. I will go to the bathroom and I will just be able to tinkle just a little bit, and within an hour I've got to go again. So that is the most annoying at night, because I'm now getting up 3 and 4 times a night just to go to the bathroom. But I'm okay with that. I knew that was a symptom that was going to happen, and it makes me feel good that the baby is getting big enough to kind of sit on my bladder, and it's a nice symptom in my opinion to have, because I feel like things are moving along now. When it comes to sleeping, I sleep on my stomach. I always have. I'm also a pretty restless sleeper. I don't sit still. It takes me a long time to fall asleep, and you can ask Aaron. I toss and turn all night in the bed. A king-size bed was the best thing for us. But now that I'm further along in my pregnancy, I don't know if it's more mental, but I feel like it's very uncomfortable to sleep on my stomach now. I think it's more in my head that I just know there's a baby in there and I don't want to hurt it, or I don't want to be uncomfortable. So I've been trying to sleep on my side or on my back right now a lot more. And I don't know if you can see behind me, but that kind of green big pillow is a body pillow that Aaron bought me for my birthday because he knew that I was getting a little uncomfortable. And that has been a godsend. I pretty much sleep with that every night, mostly on my side, and I just put that between my legs, and that kind of prevents me from wanting to roll over onto my stomach, and that has helped a lot. So I do feel like it hurts. Again, I feel like it's more mental than anything. I know people say they sleep on their stomach pretty much until it's just too big to stand, but I don't know. I just feel like I can't do that. I feel like I'm hurting the baby, or it hurts me. Either way, I can't sleep on my stomach now, so that's been a big adjustment. I'll also say that I first noticed my skin was getting very clear when I found out I was pregnant. I also started a new face wash regimen. I started the Clinique 3-step for really oily skin because I've always had pimples. I've always had really oily skin, and it has been really clear up until the last couple of weeks. And I don't know if you can tell, but I have bumps in places I never get bumps. I always had pimples on my chin and sometimes around my nose. My understanding was that was totally hormonal, and I know that it's pretty common with PCOS. And they would just be like one big pimple that would be, you know, a couple of weeks. I'm getting a bunch of little ones, like forehead and upper cheek, and I never got pimples there. And that's a newer thing that's just happened in pretty much the last week or so. So I don't know if that's pregnancy related, or maybe I need to add something else to my skincare. So I'm trying to look into that and figure out what can help with that. But that is something that has changed in the last couple of weeks. I will show you my belly at the end of this video, but I will say that I can honestly tell that I'm starting to show. I feel like the last week or two has really been the biggest change. Honestly, the last week or two has been like when everything's added on to all of these symptoms. Like everything kind of changed a lot from like week 10 to week 13. But I definitely have a little bit of a pudge now. I feel like at first it was just my normal belly that I've had for a while, but it's getting to the point to where I can't suck it in. It feels uncomfortable if I try to suck it in. That's kind of how I could tell, okay, this is actually a baby, not just, you know, me and my belly. And it's not really round yet, and it's still mostly fat, but I can definitely tell that it's bigger than it has been. And that's been kind of nice to actually feel a belly and to, you know, feel it and see it grow, because it's just really worrisome up until that point when you feel like nothing's happening and you can't tell a change because you feel symptoms, but you know, you just worry about it growing. So I do feel pretty good and pretty happy. Maybe it's more in my head, but Aaron says he sees it too. You can't really tell in clothes unless I really wear something tight, and you kind of go, is it not? But I know for sure because I can tell how I feel mostly from the inside. Also, around week 11, I believe, I broke down and bought a at-home Doppler. I told myself I wouldn't because a lot of people say don't do that. It's stressful. Don't listen to the baby's heartbeat, because if you can't find it, you'll get anxious when you probably just don't know what you're doing or it's too early. But I said, you know what? It's 35 bucks on Walmart.com. I'm going to get one. I won't stress myself out. I'll know if I can't find it, there's no big deal. And so far, I found it every single time. I've basically used it every day. And I know that I won't once the baby starts moving and I have a bigger belly and I can tell that everything's okay. But for my own reassurance, it was really nice to have that Doppler and to just find the heartbeat. It was fun to find it and try to search for it. And I don't think it's been strong enough so far to like register on the Doppler, because it will usually say 120s, 130s, but I feel like that's not as accurate. I feel like it's higher than that just based on me listening to it, just because I don't know, it just feels even faster than that, if that makes any sense. But I found it every single time. It's not been an issue. There was a couple stressful moments where I couldn't find it, but I pretty much just stayed calm and listened to it, and now I know the spot that it's in, and I go to it every time and basically find it within a minute. So that's been kind of nice. It might not be for everybody. It's not, maybe not the best advice to get one, but I quite enjoy having one, and I will probably use one for every pregnancy if I'm blessed again to have another one. I believe that's it for my first official bump date. Again, in 13 weeks, so I will hopefully have another video within the next couple of weeks to kind of just keep going. I will not do weekly updates because I feel like that's just unnecessary. So maybe like every 5 weeks or so, I'll do an update, or if anything changes. So thanks again for watching. I'm so glad you guys have checked me out. If you have not subscribed, please do, because there's going to be a lot of fun videos continuing with this pregnancy, and even more fun videos after the baby comes. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you all soon. Bye.